Robert Kiyosaki is probably most well known for his book Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is a fundamental starting point for anybody trying to gain awareness on financial literacy. However, I want to focus in on his second book that he wrote after Rich Dad Poor Dad, known as Cashflow Quadrant. For me, this was very monumental in shaping my understanding of the four fundamental ways in which money and income is generated. And I wanted to share that on today's Tuesday Trees Philosophies. Welcome, everybody. This is Tuesday's Trees Philosophies. This is where I go deeper into my thoughts, values, meditations. People always told me I go too deep. Well, I go deeper, baby. Anyways, let's get into it. So, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Sorry, not Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We're talking about cash flow quadrant today. So, what is the quadrant? It's four fundamental ways in which everyone essentially generates money. And what are these four quadrants? So, number one, you have an employee. Number two, you have a self employed business. Number three, you have a business system. And number four, you have investments. And I'll go deeper on each of these. So, employee, number one. Of course, we're all familiar with the employee model. You work for somebody else's business, you clock in, you spend 8, 9 hours, whatever, at the business. In exchange for your time, you receive money, right? So, whether you're somebody working at McDonald's, whether you're a lawyer working at a firm, you're working for somebody else, and you are exchanging your time for money. That's number one. Number two, you have a self-employed business. So imagine that lawyer that was working at a firm. He decides, you know what, I'm going to quit and start my own firm. So he starts his firm and they are just self-employed. So they have their own business, but they are still they're still relying on themselves in order to make that money. They still have to clock in, they still have to exchange their time, they still have to understand the case and read the files and do the homework, go to trial in order to make the money. So again, this is the second form, a self-employed business. Number three, you have a business system, which is very different. This is when you've actually created a system where you've connected various components together in order to create value and generate money. So an example of this would be McDonald's. So McDonald's has created an efficient way of uh, taking all of their produce, distributing to their chains, packaging it and selling it, marketing it to their clients. So they've created a system of serving burgers. And that system is so efficient, they can franchise it. That's what a franchise is. They've created a system and then sell it to others to essentially take that system and capitalize off it. Now, the biggest way that you know that you have a system and not a self-employed business is if you were to walk away from your business for a long period of time, let's say a year, and you were to come back, you would still be revenue generating money. You would still be generating income, right? Because it's not dependent on you exchanging your time for money. Now we have a system where money is generating money, which is very different. And one important thing about the cash flow quadrant is that the first two parts of the quadrant are associated with quote unquote the poor, whereas the second two, the right side of the quadrant, is associated with the rich. So, a little side tangent. Number four, we have investments. And of course, this is where your stocks, bonds, and ETFs and crypto, whatever, a house, whatever you put your money in, and then it appreciates in value over time. You sell it, that's an investment, right? So, again, you have a situation where you exchange money for money. So, two fundamental different ways in which money is generated. One is with exchange for time. Time gives you money, or what the rich do is exchanging money for money. And that's again the two fundamental differences between the left side of the cash flow quadrant and the right side of the cash flow quadrant. Now you may say that, hey, you know plenty of people that are, self-employed business people and, self-employed lawyers, self-employed doctors, and they make lots of good money. Hey, they do. But at the end of the day, if you're talking about levels, the truly rich, the truly wealthy, it's a different way of thinking. And again, it comes down to exchanging time for money versus money for money. Well, that's it for today's Tuesday Trees Philosophies. I hope you found value in it. If you did, please share it with somebody else that might find this interesting. give this video a like, subscribe, and if you like that, check out this other video that you might think is also pretty good for you. So I'll catch you next time. Choose these philosophies. Take it easy. Peace.